Oh, good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming down. I know it's been a long 4 or 5 days for everybody that's been involved. I'd like to take a quick second just to welcome everybody that came down. Members from the State Police Department, members from the National Guard are here, our town offices, all the members from our local fire department, all the supporting fire departments that are here. We've got gentlemen here from the Herkimer County Legislature, as well as numerous representatives from the governor's office and the governor himself as well. But at this point, I will turn it over to the chairman for the Herkimer County Legislature, Mr. Vincent Bono.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the citizens of Herkimer County, I'd like to welcome the governor of our state, Andrew Cuomo, to Herkimer County. Unfortunately, it's under dire circumstances here. Before I introduce the governor, though, I just want to tell the community that we're in this together. We've got a great team put together between local, state, and federal officials working for you. I just ask that you be patient. You know, for the most part, you're helping yourselves, and that's great to see as a community. But there is help out there. Some of you have gotten it. And just stay strong. We'll get through this together. So again, on behalf of the residents of Herkimer County, I'd like to introduce Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Mayor Barron and Chairman Bono very much for their leadership in this issue. You know, a situation like this brings out the worst and it brings out the best. And your mayor and the chairman of the legislature have really risen to the occasion, as has every first responder, every city employee, every county employee who's worked tireless day in and day out. Talk about above and beyond the call of duty. They've done extraordinary work. Many of them have left their home, left their family to go out and help other homes and other families. And let's give them a round of applause for the great work they do. Bad news is it's still raining, and they say it's going to rain on and off for another couple of days through the week, and then it should be breaking down at the end of the week. The weather pattern should shift. So we have between now and then, and we're going to have more of the same, and we should prepare for it. We have in Herkimer, about 85 people displaced. Mohawk had about 60 to 80 displaced. Madison County, about 290 people displaced. Montgomery County, about 350 people displaced. We're working to get those people back in their homes now. Obviously, it's an ongoing process. You do the dewatering, it keeps raining, and we're doing the same work over 2 or 3 times. First phase of the operation is to keep people safe and stabilize the situation. That's what the first responders are working on. That's what the police are working on. We ask your patience during that period of time. We ask you to cooperate with the first responders as we go through this phase. Second phase is going to be the rebuilding. And I know people are anxious to get on with it. They want to get back in the house. They want to clean up. They want to get their lives going again. I understand that. But let's get through the first phase, and let's make sure everybody's safe. And then we'll all turn to the rebuilding phase, and we'll do that together. We've been in contact with the federal government. FEMA is the main agency. We believe we're going to qualify for federal funding. They'll be able to reimburse homeowners. They'll be able to reimburse local governments for the cost that the local governments incurred. We've gone through this with FEMA a couple of 3 times over the past year or so because we've gone through this situation before. And they've been very responsive, and I believe they're going to be responsive again. But we have to get to that phase, and when we turn to that phase, we'll get there together. In the meantime, if you hear an evacuation notice, please, the officials wouldn't be asking you to evacuate unless they really believed it was in your interest. They have no reason to have people evacuating unless you really need people to evacuate. We don't want first responders having to put their lives in harm's way needlessly. Also remember that you are your own first responder in your own home. Act intelligently. Do what you need to do to protect your family. and use your own judgment, your own prudence. We've been through this before. You have a sense. Don't risk your family's safety. Act first. And again, let's cooperate and we'll get through it together. State Police emergency number, for those who might need it in the meantime, is 315-866-711. If it's a true emergency, dial 911. And my last point is this. I know it looks tough. I know a lot of people have gone through a lot of pain, but I also know there are a lot of people with you. And you haven't seen anything until you see New Yorkers come together to help their neighbor. And that's what New York is all about. We help one another. And the spirit of community and the essence of community is just this. When one of us has a problem, we all rise to the occasion. And when one of us needs something, we all come together for that person in need. Let's pitch in, get through these next few days, then we'll get on with the rebuilding. And we'll build back everything, and we'll build it back better than before. And we'll do it together, and we'll do it as New Yorkers. Meanwhile, let's stay safe. And once again, I thank all the first responders and the officials who are out there every day doing what they need to do. Thank you. Questions? Let me ask the mayor and the chairman to join me. Any questions, comments?
Governor, now that you've gone through this process in a number of towns, where you continue to clean up basically the same area, are you also finding other problems developing because of the length of this weather system?
I wouldn't say there are any problems here, Jim, that we haven't dealt with before. You know, we know the story all too well now. You have a heavy rain shower. You have more rain than you could expect, 5-7 inches in some cases. The soil is saturated. It can't absorb the water, and there's no power like the power of Mother Nature. Because of the continued weather pattern here, we're doing the same work 2, 3, 4 times. That's somewhat new. I've only been governor 2 years, but it's somewhat new for me personally that we've had this weather pattern sit on an area this long. Normally it's a storm, the damage is done, and then you stabilize and you come in and rebuild. But here the lingering weather pattern is a problem unto itself. Just the duration of it is a problem.
Any timetable on FEMA?
FEMA, you know, FEMA really is step 2. And I know people are anxious to get on with the rebuilding from their point of view. It's their home, it's their belongings. They want to get on with their life. But we have to qualify for FEMA funding first. And that means we have to do an assessment of the total damage. There are thresholds to hit for FEMA to come in and reimburse. And we have to go through that process first. We can't go through that qualification process while our people are out pumping and moving people and transporting people. So it will take us a couple of 3 days, stabilize health and safety, public safety issues, then qualify for FEMA funding, and then we'll have FEMA in here. FEMA is actually on the ground now, and they're working with us. But until we get serious to the reimbursement level where homeowners have someone to talk to, it's going to be 2 or 3 days.
I've been through this in 2006. The state and FEMA were already on the ground within a couple of days. This is day 5. Is there any money that we can get from the state to start? We can't get back in our house. I know on Charles Street you were over there.
Yeah.
We can't get back in our house with no electric.
Well, the state.
How can you start? We got money from the state and FEMA quicker. It seemed 6 years ago when the answers are.
Yeah.
This is 10 times worse than it was 7 years ago.
Yeah, no, I understand that. We are the state's. Yeah, the state's first role is to make sure nobody's in danger, and that's what we're working on now. I understand that you want to get back in your home and you need funding to get back in your home. FEMA is here. The federal government has taken over the reimbursement programs for the past few years. FEMA has been very good about it. They do reimburse. We've been working with them all across the state. They're on the ground now, and literally in 2 or 3 days, they'll be in a position where they can actually take your information and make sure you qualify. Just to give you a head start, they're going to ask you if you have private insurance and they're going to ask you if you made your private insurance claim, and they'll cover after your private insurance claim. If you don't have private insurance, it's not an issue. If you do have private insurance, just to save some time, they're going to have you call that adjuster down, find out what they'll cover, and FEMA covers after that amount.
So, Governor, the reason why I just called today the FEMA number, and the woman on the other end said she had no idea what I was talking about. So, I mean, it just didn't sound right to me.
Well, no, it's what I'm saying. First, FEMA has to declare this a qualified disaster for reimbursement. That's what they're doing now. Not every disaster is reimbursed by FEMA. You have to qualify for reimbursement, and that's what we're talking to them about now. I believe we're going to qualify, and that's what we're working through now. That'll take a day or two, and then they'll get to the individual assistance.
Who do you call when you have a small business? We have a mobile home park that's been totally devastated. I mean, it looks like an earthquake went through there. All the infrastructure, all the units, everything. Who do we call? Is there anyone we can call? Because FEMA says they want to be a part of that. We really can't.
It's going to be the SBA, Small Business Administration.
And that's not assistance, that's a loan.
That is
We've lost our income.
I don't know, that's a federal program through the SBA. I don't know exactly what they offer, but I know they do the business loans or grants through the SBA. But we can work that through with you once they're here.
Governor, John Stevens, Mayor of the Village of Ilion. I know a lot of people are here to maybe ask questions of why isn't it happening? While you and I might not have the same philosophy on some issues, I certainly want to thank you for your efforts in getting the DEC to loosen up the ability to have all municipalities.
Thank you, Mayor.
That is probably the single biggest thing that we have to deal with, and that's every community. We've got to be able to get into those creeks on a yearly basis and clean them out like we used to do when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you. All right, let's stay safe, and we'll get through this together. Thank you.